Hello everyone, Zinedine Zidane signs for Manchester United? We will give the details of these news very soon, but first let's take a quick look at the highlights of the day. We would be very happy if you subscribe to the channel and like the video before continuing. Let's get starting. Jesse Lingard is prepared to leave Manchester United in January, according to Eurosport. The 28-year-old returned to Old Trafford in the summer after a successful 6-month loan at West Ham, but has since been unable to force his way back into Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's plans. United could look to sell Lingard permanently when the transfer market reopens, or else they risk losing him for nothing when his contract expires next summer. Luka Jovic is eager to leave Real Madrid in January. According to Defensa Central, the 23-year-old has only scored twice in 39 games since moving to Santiago Bernabeu from Eintracht Frankfurt in 2019, and has just 7 appearances to his name so far this season. Jovic, who returned to Frankfurt on loan for the second half of the 2020-21 campaign, is ready to push for another move so he can start playing regularly again. In other news, Real Madrid are open to selling Spanish defender Nacho to Roma, according to Calcio Mercado. Jose Mourinho is a keen admirer of the 31-year-old due to his ability to operate as both a right back and center back. Real won't stand in Nacho's way if he wants to join Roma, as he currently finds himself out of favor with head coach Carlo Ancelotti. Paris Saint-Germain youngster Xavi Simons is seeking a transfer away from the club, according to Mundo Deportivo. The 18-year-old midfielder initially moved to Parc des Princes from Barcelona in search of regular minutes, but is still on the fringes of the action under Mauricio Pochettino. Simons has less than a year to run on his contract at PSG, and has instructed his agent, Mino Raiola, to start looking for other opportunities. Juventus are considering a cut-price move for Borussia Dortmund midfielder Axel Witsel, according to Calcio Mercado. The 32-year-old is out of contract at the end of the season, so Dortmund are ready to cash in during the winter window rather than see him leave for free in the summer. Juve were keen to sign the Belgium international last summer, but the move never materialized. Sergio Ramos is not thinking about quitting PSG despite his injury-plagued start to life at the French Giants, according to his brother and agent René. Ramos has yet to play a single minute for the Ligue 1 leaders since joining from Real Madrid in the summer because of a persistent calf problem. That led to speculation suggesting the defender could agree to an early termination of his contract, but those rumors have been dismissed. New Barcelona boss Xavi is targeting striker Cedric Bakambu as his first signing, according to El Nacional. Xavi was finally confirmed as Ronald Koeman's successor on Saturday and has already set about rebuilding the side. An early arrival in January is likely to be DR Congo star Bakambu, whose contract at Chinese Super League side Beijing Guoan expires at the end of the year. Barcelona are set to cut short Luuk de Jong's loan from Sevilla, according to Sport. The 31-year-old moved to Camp Nou for the duration of the 2021-22 campaign in the summer, but has struggled to make an impact. Barca will look to send him back to Sevilla in January as new manager Xavi starts to stamp his own mark on the squad. West Ham United boss David Moyes has urged Jared Bowen to ignore interest from Liverpool and stay put. Well, Jared's at a top club now, Moyes told reporters ahead of Sunday's Premier League clash against the Reds. It's the level of consistency Jared now needs to bring to his game. We are trying to up his goals, and his assists. All those things like that. Real Madrid will insert a €1 billion release clause when they renew the contract of Brazil forward Vinicius Jr. at the end of the season. Tottenham boss Antonio Conte has been linked with returning to former club Inter Milan to sign some of their players, but the Serie A club's manager Simone Inzaghi says, it's too early to think about January. Former Chelsea striker Andriy Shevchenko is set to be named Genoa's new manager after the Italian club sacked Davide Ballardini. Napoli president Aurelio De Laurentiis says it is up to Italy forward Lorenzo Insigne if he stays at the Serie A club, with the 30-year-old's contract running out next summer. Now it's time to deliver the most exciting news of the day. Man United lost 2-0 in the Manchester Derby on Saturday, and many would like to see Ole Gunnar Solskjaer part ways with the club. The United Kingdom has become increasingly divided over the last decade, but Manchester United fans have always agreed on one thing. That's because the Glazers' ownership of the club has never split opinion. Supporters have always been truly united in opposition to their controversial regime. The unprecedented protests in May this year around Old Trafford against the custodians of the club amid the European Super League fallout were a consequence of years of neglect, broken promises and incompetence. It was communicated that lessons would be learned from that fiasco. However, mistakes of old are now creeping in again. Although it had been clear for some time during the 2015-16 season that United were heading backwards under Louis van Gaal's leadership, the call to part ways with the Dutchman in May 2016 was an overdue decision, which proved costly. While his successor José Mourinho would deliver silverware, that was placed at the expense of the long-term well-being of the club. Managerial decisions are the most important aspect of ownership, and yet it's an area in which the Glazers fail. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has actually been a success at United across his almost 3-year managerial reign, though. That statement might initially cause aghast, but the United boss was the perfect candidate to inherit what Mourinho had left behind. Solskjaer implemented a radical culture shift at Carrington upon his permanent appointment. He addressed key issues regarding personnel in the squad and made visible progress on the pitch. Solskjaer was the caretaker that United desperately needed to find, but caretakers shouldn't manage clubs of United's caliber for very long. Although the Norwegian has always received criticism over his alleged lack of tactical nous, there has been an argument that he deserved the opportunity to try to take United to that elusive next step, but that case is now quite frankly redundant. Solskjaer's work ensured that United were in the strongest position since Sir Alex Ferguson retired this summer, but it's now abundantly clear that he's taken the club as far as his capabilities allow him. It's time for another manager to finish the project. There was a grossly unacceptable inevitability in United's tepid performance against Manchester City at the weekend, and the international break is the ideal time for the Glazers to make the right decision, to remove Solskjaer from office. But the Glazers are reactive, not proactive, the hallmarks of poor owners, and they're watching their asset decline. At what point of decline will they feel required to pull the trigger, though? Champions League qualification is the most important thing at the club, and not finishing in the top 4 is deemed financial suicide. United have 4 points from their last 5 Premier League games, and they won't achieve Champions League qualification if producing that form across the season. The Glazers will react when Champions League qualification is in doubt, but that will be too late for United supporters. Their priorities at the club have always been misplaced, and their persistence with Solskjaer could be the final straw. In other news, the nature of the defeat has, according to Diario AS, led to several important voices calling for Solskjaer to be replaced. Zinedine Zidane has again surfaced as a candidate, even though sources close to the former Real Madrid coach have always maintained that it's highly unlikely he'd consider joining United. Zidane is waiting for the French national team to call for him, or, failing that, a club with a winning structure clearly in place. United, in the midst of severe turbulence, don't have that. Despite this, Zidane is the second favorite to take over at Old Trafford according to the bookmakers. Brendan Rodgers, currently in charge of Leicester City, is the favorite.